Okay, so I just got up, maybe, let's see, about an hour and a half ago, and I'm just tooling around, getting my coffee, drinking my coffee, and this kind of bullshit, and so I'm gonna, I think this one, I'll just try some more. I'll try to go some more into the story. The intermission thing, it's really, okay, so it's very tempting for me to go into intermission because, first of all, there's so many details I'm leaving out. I'm kind of just trying to rush through this as quickly as I can, while at the same time being as thorough as I can. And so, and it's very tempting to do intermission because I have all these other thoughts, and then I'll remember things that seem like key details that I left out, and all these things. And but I have to keep powering through, And and I wanted to say too, like, the reason I bring up the temptation to go into intermission is because I really appreciate, like, somebody wanting to listen to this story, and I know how hard it is. I know, like, it's a big long story. I mean, it's just, I've already put like 4 hours into this, and so I really appreciate anybody that would take the time to listen to this story, especially the whole story. And I hope that it's not boring. If nothing else, I hope that it's, it's interesting, and maybe people can learn something from this stuff. I really do. But I can't really express enough my appreciation for anybody that would actually, take an interest in this. And also, like, I understand, like, it's a lot, this is a lot. So that being said, and without further ado, let's get back into the pre-event. So where I left off, the COVID lockdowns. So I'm talking like all this insane shit with this chick. She's got a stalker stalking her. He's a sex offender. Then he's stalking me. We're going to court. The whole time that her ex is harassing her, basically cyber stalking her through the phone. The whole thing about him getting the stalker getting arrested. I mean, and I like I said in one of the previous videos, like, I can't even process this stuff as fast as it's happening. It's pure insanity. The food bank lady telling me that her husband, Christina's husband, is the type of guy you'd see on the front page of the newspaper, having killed his wife and children and blown his own head off, and all that's becoming more apparent as he continues to cyber stalk her through the phone texts I mean, it's just an endless amount of insanity that I cannot process as quickly as it's coming at me. Then she fucking blows all of her unemployment that I got her unemployment, and she doesn't have any money, so she's like about to be homeless, and she just like nonchalantly mentions this to me while we're getting coffee, and I'm like, what the fuck? Where's all your money? And so then we have to move in together, right? So I talked to my boss. My boss agrees that me and her can live together on my boss's property as long as we live in the same RV. We can't live in separate RVs. And so then I have to move in with her, and her RV is literally like a fucking Breaking Bad RV. There's all this DMT manufacturing equipment in there. There's dog shit has piled up under one of the swivel chairs, like 6 months of dog shit. Like this chick is a complete fucking mess. And the whole time, the only thing I can attribute it to is all of her years of trauma that she's experienced with this guy and all kinds of other shit. And all I've been doing is protecting her from from the stalker, from her husband. Like I have to hold her hand through the court process of the restraining order shit. And I'm the one that got that guy ended up in prison because of me, like all this shit, right? And then, I have to protect her from her psycho ex that's like stalking her, cyber stalking her through text. And I'm helping her process like how she can go through the legal means to get custody back of her children, and then she's on the verge of homelessness, so then I have to save her from that. And then we have to move in together, even though I never wanted to live with her. I wanted us to live separately so that there wasn't codependent issues and this and that. So now we're forced to like move in together because it was either that or just cut her off. Like this homeless, scared, starving, abused puppy that I took in, which, like I said, intuition is that's what you want to do when you see a puppy like that. You're like, you want to nurse it back to health and get it to a good home, etc., etc. And so I'm at the point where I either have to cut this poor puppy dog off and say, fuck it, just go back out onto the street because I can't I can't do this, or keep trying to help this poor puppy. So I decide, instead of kicking her to the curb and saying, I'm sorry, you brought this on yourself, I'm like, okay, we'll move in together. So I move in with her and her pit bull mastiff, and I had to all by myself clean up the entire RV, her RV, and set it up so where it was livable for us to live in. And like I explained, like, see, I make my living quarters, my living quarters are like a home. Not just some fucking trailer, half abandoned fucking trailer that I'm squatting in, And that's the way she lived in her RV. So I had to do everything. Massive amounts of stress, like doing all of this. I had to do it all. She's like incapable of doing anything. And so in the midst of all of this, like insane shit just popping off left and right constantly, then comes the lockdowns and the mask mandates and all this, right? So add 10 times more stress onto this already completely insane situation. Okay? So this is just what's happening, This is just the way everything has gone and going. And I'm learning more about her, Like I remember finding this little patch. You know how you can sew patches on jackets, and she had this little patch that said, it was like some kind of joke, like I'm a stupid girl, beat me or something like that. And I was like finding these weird things like this and like questioning her, like, really? I mean, do you really want to keep this? Because we're throwing shit out. And I'm finding this, like, these are little tokens of hers that she keeps that are weird things like, I'm a stupid girl, treat me like a stupid bitch or whatever. And I'm like, is this the kind, do you really want, So I'm just absorbing all of her, which is really fucked up. And it's strange that I would use that analogy that I'm absorbing her, because I actually had a dream like maybe 6 months ago where I was like, this female was interacting with me, and as soon as the female touched me, the female absorbed herself into me, and like I became like two people. I was having all kinds of dreams back then too, like really red flag dreams that in hindsight I should have heeded those dreams. Like I had a dream that she had fucking like encased me in a spider web, like the Hobbit on Lord of the Rings got wrapped up in the spider web and shit. Anyways, so at this point I'm really questioning, like, how is this ever going to end? Is she going to start taking initiation taking care of herself instead of like, is this just going to be, I'm just taking care of this person, I'm just this person's fucking caretaker, like what in the fuck? And then all these little weird little things, like she is like why would she have a patch that says I'm stupid, you know, treat me like a stupid bitch because I'm stupid or whatever. And so it totally lends credibility to this idea that she is like she's a submissive person, like she's into S&M, and she's like the submissive type, like she likes all this, like she likes to be treated like shit by people and abused and exploited, and it's like just like part of her MO, like she's a sadist, or is that a masochist? I can't remember. I think it's sadism when you like to be treated like shit. You know, treat me like I'm stupid. I'm just a stupid, worthless piece of shit. So treat me like that. Yeah. And you know, this is all like, you know, like in hindsight, it's like, yeah, you know. And in the moment though, I'm just like looking at this girl like she's so fucking traumatized, that she's so fucking confused, that she thinks that it's clever and cute to have these little tokens that describe her. She self-describes herself as a stupid person that needs to be beaten to submission and shit, like weird shit like this. But again, you know, I'm just attributing it all to this poor girl. Like she just needs to be healing. She needs to get past all this stuff. So anyways, so then the COVID thing happens, and so then you can imagine we all went through all this shit with lockdowns and everything. So all that on top of all this, and just like months and months of lockdownerism and all this stuff, and then, you know, just incidents kept happening where, you know, like one time, because she doesn't ever clean, so now I'm the maid too. I'm like the maid. I'm doing every fucking thing, and it's starting to be like I don't know how much more I can do this. It's getting completely out of control. And I was cleaning out the freezer, and I find a bag with something in it, and I'm cleaning out the freezer. So I'm like, dude, do you want this? I'm throwing out all this garbage out of the freezer. What is this? I don't know what it is. I don't know if you wanted to save it or what. And she's like telling me that it's hits of acid. It's like this baggie full of hits of acid, and I'm like, dude, you can't have hits of acid here. I mean, when we're living together, like you can keep the hits of acid, I don't care, but you're gonna have to find some place to store them out in the desert or something. Like you can't have them in our living space. This is how I could go to prison for this shit. So no, I'm not risking myself going to prison because you want to keep a baggie full of hits of acid. You can keep them, but not in here, not where we live. And then, you know, and she's like all butthurt and wants to argue how unfair it is. You know, this is just the kind of shit that's going on. And the whole magic was gone. Like July 4th, when he went to jail, the stalker went to jail, and then we ended up getting him into prison later. Like there was this magic where she felt a sense of hope. Like I could see the light going off in her eyes, and she had hope of the future and all this and stuff. And then I just watched that fizzle away. Like it didn't even take very long. Where then she just sinks back into you know, desperation or whatever, like disillusionment, where she just doesn't see any hope and all this. And I'm like trying to explain to her, like, look, you have to keep going on this path. It doesn't just all happen on its own. You took the first step or two, like getting away from him and all this, but that doesn't mean everything just magically turns to. You have to keep trudging. You have to keep going down this path. You can't just like whatever. So, but by this time, like, it's becoming more and more apparent she's just given up on everything, and it's just like, whatever, dude. So that's when we started having relationship problems, you know. And then her psycho ex shows up out of nowhere one day. He's just there with the two boys. And me and him get into an altercation. and I ended up having to call the cops on him because, again, it's private property. It's my boss's private property, and he's like telling me, well, he's just gonna camp out in the property, and that's why I'm like, motherfucker, you need to get the fuck out of here right now, bro. You're not camping on this fucking private property, dude. It's no trespassing private property. Get the fuck out of here. And so he was refusing to leave, and so I called the cops, all this. And so then I'm like, okay, I need a gun. We need to get a gun. We need a gun. Because now we're dealing with another fucking stalker psycho motherfucker. And so I borrow a gun. And then, and so all this stuff, it's just going on and on. And, you know, her questionable behavior that I keep having to rationalize away that, oh, it's just trauma. It's just this poor innocent girl who's all this trauma that is just fucked her up really bad and stuff. And let's see. So then, trying to make sure I don't lose any key details. But, you know, the main key detail to acknowledge throughout this whole thing, which I didn't realize till much later, is this girl constantly has a black cloud around her. She's always got somebody stalking her. There's always somebody stalking us because of her. There's always some black cloud. There's always some fucking bullshit going on, you know. And I'm just having to deal with it because I'm with her, you know. And I don't have the heart to kick her to the curb because she's like this little puppy dog that's homeless and starving and abused and this, and so I don't have the heart to just kick her back out to the street. So I'm like trying to manage all this, then fucking COVID and lockdowns, and that just adds more layers of fucking insanity and stress, and then I decide I don't want to live on my boss's property anymore because that is bringing a whole other layer of fucking problems after problems, just all these, and so I know this guy that I've worked for, you know, every summer for like 3 years. And I find out he has a RV spot that he's wanting to rent out. And so I'm talking to him about it, and it's like the best RV spot in the whole town, and it's the cheapest as well. And so I'm like, okay, we need to jump on this. We can't afford to pass this up. We can afford it. You have a job, I have a job. We can split the money and just move over there, and then we can be away from all this insanity with my job. Living on the job site is never ideal, especially when you're dealing with some girl like this, and she has a pit bull mastiff dog that she can't take care of, and the dog is going crazy, and because she doesn't know what the fuck to do with the pit bull mastiff, and I don't have the time to take care of a pit bull mastiff. So we move onto this spot. And when we sign in the thing, the owner's like, so who do you want on the, who's going to sign the paperwork? Is it just you or is it you and her? And she was with me, and I was like, well, I mean, we're going to split the rent, so you might as well put both of us on there. Big mistake. Never do that. Ever. Never. Ever. 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 Which I didn't find out until later. Okay? So she's on the lease with me, which was the biggest fucking mistake. Oh my God, I will never do that again. Okay, so now we're about 20 minutes in, so I just wanted to kind of power through because I remembered where I left off with the COVID. It was like everything that's fucking COVID just comes crashing down, right? So now we're finally relocated into this nice spot. It's fucking the best RV spot in town because of me. And like a dumb motherfucker, I put her on the lease with me, so now we're living in this spot, and so then I'll start up from there.